السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا مولانا رسول الله وآله وصحبه من والاه. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. وبعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله تعالى، وخير الهدي هدي سيدنا محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. وما قل ودل خير مما كثر ألهى، وقليل يغنيك خير من كثير يطغيك، وإنما توعدون لآت وما أنتم بمعجزين. وبعد, we're back, alhamdulillah ta'ala, to our family halaqa on Friday at 8 p.m. And subhanallah, the weather today is really hot. Like, I'm talking to you and I'm sweating. You can even see me sweating. That's how hot it is in Canada, so you cannot even believe it. And there's a warning, severe weather warning, that there will be severe severe winds that can destroy windows, and it can turn into a tornado, as the warning said. I was in my car actually driving, and I heard it twice. So just be careful, inshallah, out there, and just letting you know that we might have some disconnection. Maybe the signal is going to have some problems because of the weather outside. So we don't know. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we won't have any problem with the connection, inshallah ta'ala. We'll continue our halaqah to the end without any problems. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. And the topic today, as you just noticed, it's the disadvantages of knowledge. I know it's a little bit weird title, but that's how Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala named that chapter in his book Mukhtasar Ihyaa Ulumuddin, the summary of reviving the Islamic sciences. Mukhtasar Ihyaa Ulumuddin by Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala. And in this chapter he said, في آفات العلم, the disadvantages of knowledge. وبيان علامات علماء الآخرة وعلماء السوء. Actually, you can hear the thunder outside. So when you hear the thunder, the Prophet told us that we say سبحان الذي يسبح الرعد بحمده والملائكة من خفته. So basically you glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because every other creation of the world, like the thunder and the lightning and the angels, they also glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of fear. So we say سبحان الذي يسبح الرعد بحمده والملائكة من خفته. And when you actually hear the wind or you feel it, you say اللهم إني أسألك خيرها وأعوذ بك من شرها. You ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from its good, and you seek Allah's refuge from its evil, whatever evil it can bring with it. We might need these two du'as from the prophetic du'as tonight, because it's raining, and at 10 p.m. as the weather warning said, it's going to start, the storm or the tornado is going to start at 8 p.m. tonight. So Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala is telling us here that we have ulama al-akhirah wa ulama al-su'. There are some scholars actually are considered the scholars of the hereafter. As we talked about them in the previous halaqat, we see the scholars who learn knowledge for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they combine in their hearts two kinds of knowledge. The first knowledge is the practical knowledge, how to do something, like how to pray, how to fast, how to do hajj, how to do zakah. They know how. They know the fiqh of religion. And also they combine along with this the knowledge of the heart. Those are the scholars of the akhirah. And they don't eat with their knowledge or with their religion. But there's another kind of scholars that Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala is talking about, that he called ulama'u as-su', the bad scholars. The scholars, sometimes people can have knowledge, but that knowledge is not a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It can be disgrace. It can be a sign of anger. It can be a sign of wrath from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that human being. even though he has a lot of knowledge. في آفات العلم وبيان علماء علامات علماء الآخرة وعلماء السوء, the scholars of the hereafter and those of bad scholars. He started this chapter by saying قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, أشد الناس عذابا يوم القيامة عالم لا ينفعه الله بعلمه. He said, on the day of Qiyamah, the people who are going to receive the most severe punishment, the harshest punishment in the day of Qiyamah, is going to be directed at some scholars. How come they are scholars? They spent their life in this world memorizing Quran, going to imams, going to sheikhs, going to teachers, to educate themselves and to teach people. And then you're telling me, Ya Rasulullah, that on the day of Qiyamah, those scholars, some of them are going to be receiving the harshest punishment on the day of Qiyamah? How can I understand that? Nabi Aslam said, لا ينفعه الله بعلمه. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He gives you some knowledge, when He gives us some knowledge, we're supposed to benefit from that knowledge in a certain way. I'm supposed to get some benefits from that knowledge. The first thing I'm supposed to do is to implement that knowledge on my own self. Before I can go ahead and teach people this knowledge, before I invite people to Allah's religion, I need to implement it on myself first. That's how I benefit from it. I need to have ikhlas in my heart. I need to have sincerity. I learn this knowledge only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I teach people this knowledge only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how I learn. That's how I escalate in this world in my relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in the akhirah. But if I don't benefit from this knowledge, on the day of Qiyamah I'm going to receive the harshest punishment. There's even another hadith that's more scary, in which the Prophet ﷺ says, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us. Allahumma ameen ya rabbil alameen. He said sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أول من تسعر بهم النار يوم القيامة. The first 3 people who will be thrown into the hellfire on the day of judgment are, see, there are disbelievers, and there are people who don't pray in this world, people who don't fast, people who didn't pay their zakah. You know, people do different sins. People who commit zina, people who drink alcohol. A lot of major sins we have in this world we know about, right? We know of. But there are 3 kinds of people. They will be the first 3 kinds of people to be thrown into the hellfire. Sayyidina Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, every single time he narrates this hadith, he used to fall unconscious. Imagine that, because of how scary it is. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عالم قارئ للقرآن عالم قارئ للقرآن ومجاهد ومنفق. The first 3 people who would be thrown to the hellfire are a scholar and حافظ of Al-Quran. He's a scholar of Al-Quran, حافظ of Al-Quran, and a scholar of religion. And the second person is mujahid, someone who is killed for the sake when he was fighting back in self-defense for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to defend his country, to defend his family, to defend his people, to defend his religion. He was fighting back in self-defense and he was killed as a martyr, and that person will be thrown to the hellfire before anybody else. So we have a scholar, qari, a reciter of Al-Quran, and a scholar at the same time, a mujahid, and a munfiq, someone who is very generous, who used to donate to different organizations and reach out to people who are in need. Whenever he hears that someone is in need, he immediately goes to give him money. He's not going to lend him some money and then take it back from him later. No, he's going to give it to him for the sake of Allah. but he is going to be thrown to the hellfire first. Why is that? That's really scary. Should we stop doing righteous deeds? The answer is no. But do righteous deeds appropriately, in a proper way. Nabi Asam said that that scholar or that reciter of Al-Quran will be brought in the day of Qiyamah before Allah Azza wa Jal by the angels. And Allah will ask him, look, I gave you the Quran. I gave you the Quran. You were able to memorize the whole Quran. And they also gave you a nice voice. No, not only that. I gave you the knowledge of tafsir. You understand the Quran. You understand the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not only that, I opened the door of da'wah for you. And then, why did you recite the Quran in the world? Why did you used to give da'wah to people? Why did you used to tell people about religion all the time? Whenever you are in a gathering, people are gossiping, you speak about religion. Why was that happening? And that person will respond and he will say, لِأَجْلِكَ يَا رَبِّ, I did that for your sake. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell him, كَذَبْت, you're lying. And the angels will tell him, you're lying. بَلْ قَرَأْتَ وَعَلَّمْتَ لِيُقَالَ قَارِئ لِيُقَالَ عَالِمٌ. You used to recite the Quran and you used to teach people for them to say, oh, look how knowledgeable he is. Look at his tajweed. Look at his beautiful voice. Look at this, look at that. So you used to do this for people's sake. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم ثم يؤمر به إلى النار فيسحب على وجهه في النار. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will command the angels to drag him by his feet to the hellfire. May Allah protect all of us. Say Ameen. The second one is a mujahid. He also was killed for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fighting back in self-defense of his country, of his people, of his religion. And then he died. He lost his life. He lost his life. Allah will ask him, why did you die? Why did you fight in the first place? He will say, Ya Rabbi, for your sake. Allah will say, you're lying. And he will command the angels to grab him by his feet to drag him by his feet to the hellfire. And the third one is a mutasaddiq. Nabi Asam called him Jawad. Jawad is someone who is known in his community as a generous person. The most beloved people to Allah and to community members are the generous people who donate for organizations, who help people who are in need, people who are less fortunate. We always need to help each other. And then he will be asked in the day of Qiyamah, why did you used to give a lot of sadaqat? Why did you help this person and that person? Why did you stand up when there was a fundraiser? Why did you stand up? What was in your mind? What was going on in your mind when you stood up in that fundraising and you said, I'm going to pay that amount of money? What was your intention? Was your intention to encourage other people to take your example and follow your example? If this is your intention, that's good for you. In tubidu sadaqat فَنِعِمَّهِ. You're gonna be rewarded for that. But in reality, his intention was for people to say, oh, look how generous he is. Allah will tell him, you're lying. You did not do it for my sake. You did it for people to say, Jawad. For people to mention you. MashaAllah, look how much he paid for our masjid. Look how much he paid for people who are in need. Look how much he gave to the food bank. Look how much he's doing here and there. Look at the volunteering work. Look at the community service he's doing. And then Allah said, وَقَدْ قِيلَ فِي الدُّنْيَا. People have said enough in the world. They have given you what you were looking for. You were looking for people to say you're a scholar, they said you're a scholar. You were looking for people to say he's generous, they said you're generous. You were looking for people to say he's a good reciter, they said you're a good reciter, a good qari. You wanted people to say he's a shaheed, people said you're a shaheed. They even named some bridges and some streets after you. Happy now? You got what you wanted, right? Now you go to hellfire. It is really scary. See, I'm talking to you now, I'm in a position to give da'wah. And I've been giving da'wah since I was 12 years old at Al-Azhar al-Sharif. 20 years of experience in giving da'wah in Arabic and then in English. I cannot claim that throughout my whole life I was sincere. Cannot claim that. I'm not an angel. Of course, at some points I really was happy when people used to praise me. When people told me, oh, mashallah, you said something today. It happens almost every other Friday. People come to you and tell you, oh, you said something today that really touched me. It has a lot to do with my life. I really feel very happy when I hear this. It's okay to feel happy. But did I do it in the first place for people to praise me? That would be the problem. You were in a gathering with people and then all of a sudden they started gossiping. Started talking about someone else in a bad way. You tried to stop them and they stopped. Why did you do that? Did you do that for them to say, oh look, he's religious. Yeah, I like him. In his presence you shouldn't say anything wrong because he's not gonna accept that. If you try to stop them with that intention, that's not good. Be careful. Be very careful. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, and the Prophet said, من ازداد علما ولم يزدد هدى لم يزدد من الله إلا بعدا. Please memorize this principle. This hadith from the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم is like a principle, a قاعدة. He said, من ازداد علما, if someone, his knowledge, he gains a lot of knowledge, his knowledge increases. وَلَمْ يَزْدَدْ هُدَى, but his guidance, his closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not as high. His knowledge is here, but his guidance is here. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يزدد من الله إلا بعدا. He is the farthest from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because you know what? Every single ayah you learn or you memorize, or every single hadith, or every single halaqah you watch or you listen to, all this knowledge that you're acquiring right now, this knowledge that you're acquiring right now, is going to be a hujjah for you, insha'Allah, on the day of Qiyamah, if you used to act accordingly, or, Allah forbids, it's going to be against you. We learn a lot. We have a lot of halaqat. Now everybody's staying at home. All the scholars are online. You used to travel to attend some conferences. Now you don't have to travel. They're all over the place. You go to Facebook, you find them everywhere. You go to YouTube, you find the lectures everywhere. So you're gaining knowledge, more knowledge every single day. Insha'Allah ta'ala, you will be able to use it and also increase in huda as you are increasing in knowledge. Every single day you increase in knowledge, mashallah. Inshallah, you will also be able to match this knowledge with guidance, closeness to Allah. Because otherwise, and the Prophet said, otherwise, we're going to be the farthest from Allah Azza wa Jal. You know, if somebody is ignorant, like he doesn't have knowledge, he's not someone who is in connection with sheikhs and imams and scholars, he doesn't know his way to lectures and stuff, he's not going to be as bad. Because he doesn't know. But the problem is, if I know but I don't implement what I know. طيب. Imam al-Ghazali said, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْعَالِمَ بِالْخَوْضِ فِي الْعِلْمِ حَرُمَ السَّلَامَ أو حرم السلامة فإما الهلاك وإما السعادة الأبدية. He said, when you go to seek knowledge, when you're in your path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala seeking knowledge, that's a very, very dangerous path to take. It's like a very dangerous tunnel. You're inside of it right now. The tunnel of knowledge or the path of knowledge. Why is it very dangerous to seek knowledge? Why is it very dangerous to know more? Why is it dangerous? Of course, there are some other reasons outside of the spiritual reasons. You can be dangerous for people who don't want you to know more because they don't want you to be challenging them. That's a different story. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Islamic knowledge. Why is it very dangerous? Why is Imam al-Ghazali saying when somebody goes to the path of knowledge, حُرِمَ السَّلَامَ, he's deprived of safety. It's dangerous. Why? He said, فإما الهلاك وإما السعادة الأبدية. He said, because the final destination in the path of knowledge, in that tunnel of knowledge, is one of two ways. There is no third option. Al-halak, destruction, if I don't implement this knowledge, if I don't convey the message, if I don't deliver the message, if I don't have guidance in me first before I teach people. Destruction. وإما السعادة الأبدية, eternal joy, eternal peace, eternal Jannah, eternal paradise, eternal happiness. You choose. We choose. This is the challenge saying, because you will be accountable to practice what you know. Exactly. To practice with sincerity and also teach people. It's actually difficult. Listen to this very beautiful quote by Al-Khalil ibn Ahmad, rahimahullah ta'ala. I have my tea right now. By the way, again, as I used to say, Ramadan, this is my right hand. You might see it, my left hand, and I hope my tea now is not as hot. Love my tea. It's a Pakistani tea, by the way. I learned from my Pakistani brothers, how to make the Pakistani tea. It's the best. Honestly, when you drink Pakistani tea, you don't have to drink another kind of tea. To me, yani. It's just amazing. Honestly, with milk, and then you boil the milk with the tea for a while. You just let it boil. It's amazing. Amazing. In Egypt, I lived like 24 years and 6 years in Saudi, and in Egypt 20 years of my life, and I was missing out the Pakistani tea. Okay. So Al-Khalil ibn Ahmad, please look at this, what he said. Beautiful quote from Al-Khalil ibn Ahmad. He said, الرجال أربعة. Men are of two kinds. People are of four kinds. أربعة is four kinds. People are of four kinds when it comes to knowledge. Look, he said, رجل يدري ويدري أنه يدري. The first kind of people is a man who knows. He has knowledge. He has qualifications. He has experience. And he knows that he knows. He knows that he has knowledge. فَذَلِكَ عَالِمٌ فَاتَّبِعُوهُ. He said, that's a scholar, so follow him. He has knowledge, experience, certain qualifications, and he knows he has these qualifications. He has confidence of himself. He's very confident. Follow that person. وَرَجُلٌ يَدْرِي. The second kind of people, رَجُلٌ يَدْرِي. A man or woman who knows. وَلَا يَدْرِي أَنَّهُ يَدْرِي. But he doesn't know that he knows. You know, he's very, very humble that he does not even speak about his qualifications. You know, I will tell you something. Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salatu, when he wanted to be the ministry of finance, what did he tell the king of Egypt? He said, اجعلني على خزائن الأرض إني حفيظ عليم. You can't choose me as the minister of finance. I can be very honest. And I'm very qualified because I have these two qualifications. Hafiz, Alim. Hafiz, I'm honest. You can trust me. And Alim, I have these qualifications. I have this amount of knowledge. When you go apply for any job, they are not going to hire you unless you have certain qualifications. So you don't be very, very, very humble that you don't even talk about your qualifications. And then they tell you, look, you have a PhD in Islamic studies, or you have this, you studied with these sheikhs, for example, and they say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Allah knows best. Being humble, yani. Tawadu'. No, that's not tawadu'. That's wrong. Khalil ibn Ahmad is saying, رَجُلٌ يَدْرِي. The second kind of people is someone who knows, but he doesn't know that he knows. He's so humble that he doesn't even tell people he has knowledge for them to give them the chance to teach. So humble. He said, فَذَلِكَ نَائِمٌ. He's sleeping. فَأَيْقِظُوهُ, wake him up. Tell him you need to have confidence in yourself. You have these qualifications. Get up and teach people. My mother jumped in here. بارك الله فيك يا أمي. الله يحفظك يا رب ويبارك لنا فيك إن شاء الله. بسم الله. So now we have two kinds of people. The first one is someone who knows, who has knowledge, and he knows he has knowledge, without arrogance, but there is self-confidence. That is a scholar. Follow him. Second one, he knows, but he doesn't speak about that. He's very, very humble that he's so shy to speak about it. He's sleeping. Wake him up. Meaning, give him the stage. Give him the stage. Tell him, could you please come teach us, give us this halaqah, give us this khutbah, because he has certain knowledge. طيب. Number three, the third kind of people, وَرَجُلٌ, a man or woman, لَا يَدْرِي, he doesn't have knowledge. وَيَدْرِي أَنَّهُ لَا يَدْرِي, and he knows that he doesn't know. So when, for example, in a gathering talking about religion or some fiqh issues, if people around him are more knowledgeable, he does not jump in and try to force his opinion and argue if he doesn't have knowledge. We have people like this. May Allah protect us. We see people like, I know you can put a name or more than one name to each one of these four kinds. Someone who doesn't know, but he doesn't know that he doesn't know. So he keeps talking. رجل لا يدري ويدري أنه لا يدري. I mean, he لا يدري, he doesn't know, and he knows that he doesn't know. So he's humble. When it comes to any fiqh discussions, he tells you, no, I'm not a scholar, I'm just gonna listen. I'm gonna ask that person, or so I'm gonna ask that imam or that scholar, that sheikh. I'm not gonna speak about it, I'm not a scholar. So he doesn't know, and he knows he doesn't know. So that person is humble. قال فذلك مسترشد, he's a seeker. فعلموه, teach him. And the last kind of people is someone who لا يدري ولا يدري أنه لا يدري. He doesn't know, and he doesn't know that he doesn't know. He thinks himself that he knows. So these are the kind of people who always argue about religion without knowledge, and we need to avoid them, or their discussions, not avoid them personally, avoid these discussions with them. قال فذلك جاهل فاحذروه. Khalid ibn Ahmad, he said that's ignorant. That person is ignorant. So beware of him. He doesn't know, but every time he sees somebody doing something that's against his culture or against his views, he starts criticizing, he starts fighting, he starts spreading doubts in the masjids and gatherings. No. He said, احذروا, avoid those people. Those people are dangerous. طيب? So those are four kinds of people. So let's see what are other ideas that we have here by Imam Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala. Imam Ghazali continued to quote some ayat and some important ahadith, and they all come down to this one meaning that we have been talking about. He did not mention a lot of new ideas more than what we have just discussed. He kept repeating the same idea more and more. He said, وَاتْلُ عَلَيْهِمْ نَبَأَ الَّذِي آتَيْنَاهُ آيَاتِنَا فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. That's a verse from the Quran. فأتبعه الشيطان فكان من الغاوين وعلماء الآخرة هم الذين لا يأكلون الدنيا بالدين ولا يبيعون الآخرة بالدنيا لما علموا من عز الآخرة وذل الدنيا. There is a very important statement that Imam Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala here mentioned about the scholars. What are other disadvantages of knowledge? We talked about lack of sincerity. We talked about lack of knowledge and thinking that I know more. And now we have the third point. He said, علماء الآخرة لا يأكلون الدنيا بالدين. The scholars of the hereafter are the ones who don't use the religion for worldly gains. I cannot tell you how scared I was when I was preparing my halaqah tonight and I read this statement. Because when I look around me, who are the imams that you know of who lead communities and teach people and give khutbas and halaqat without getting any sort of payment? You know what I'm saying? Any sort of payment. I'm not only saying like money, financial payment. No. I'm saying they don't even gain any kind of higher status in their communities, more respect amongst their people. Where is that person who gives halaqat and khutbas and teaches people and he doesn't take any money? There is no any financial benefits or social benefits that he's gaining from his community. Where is that person? He doesn't exist. So is it that not dangerous? Isn't that something dangerous? That's why Al-Ghazali said it's a very dangerous path. It's a very dangerous tunnel when you go to seek knowledge. The scholars of the hereafter are the ones who don't use their religion for worldly gains, nor sell the hereafter for the world. Nor sell the hereafter for the world. Meaning that he does not change his fatwa based on what the authorities tell him. And I'm not going to give examples because we have this in so many countries around us, that scholars are very close to the authorities and they can change their opinions sometimes based on what the authority wants. Without mentioning any names, and please, I'm not naming anybody and I'm not naming any country, and whatever you think of now, it doesn't necessarily mean what I mean in my mind. Like, I might mean something else. I'm talking in general. You might put a name, you might put a face to what I'm talking about. It might be something totally different from what I mean. Okay. Let's see if we have any more ideas here. قال سيدنا عمر رضي الله عنه: إذا رأيتم العالم محبا للدنيا. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu said, إذا رأيتم العالم محبا للدنيا. If you see a scholar who loves the world, and by the way, please listen carefully because we might misunderstand this. If you see a scholar loving this world, he loves this world, فاتهموه على دينكم. Then accuse him for abusing your religion. For every lover dives in what he loves. So I'm gonna end my halaqah tonight with this statement from Sayyidina Umar. When Sayyidina Umar says, when you see a scholar loves this world, he doesn't mean a scholar who is rich. I mean who's wealthy. Because in Islam, we are supposed to be financially strong. Otherwise, how are we going to help people who are less fortunate? The fact that we can help people is because we have money. So this means we're financially stable. So Sayyidina Umar is not talking about scholars who have money. Okay. What about scholars who dress well? That's also fine. Nabi Asam was asked this question. أرأيت إن كان الرجل يحب أن يكون نعله حسنة وثوبه حسنة. When he was talking about showing off and Ihyaa, some Sahaba told him, Ya Rasulullah, what if I want my clothes to be clean and to be nice, and my shoes to look nice, and my hair to look nice, I want to be presentable. فقال النبي هذا ليس رياء. That is not showing off. So Sayyidina Umar is not talking about scholars who look presentable. He's not talking about that. In fact, looking a certain way is a culture. I talked about this in the past. Looking a certain way, or dressed in a certain way, being dressed in a certain way, it's culture. It has nothing to do with religion in reality, except covering your awra and being modest. Anything else comes in under culture. But Sayyidina Umar is talking about what? He's talking about people who don't have this world in their hands, but they have it in their hearts. You see this in the way they speak. One of the things that really bother me so much, when you go into a masjid and you see someone in Jum'ah prayer sitting down on a chair cross-legged. Like, what is this arrogance? You're in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or when you're talking to a scholar and you see him totally, completely disregarding any other opinions. When you tell him that we have other opinions in the mas'ala that you're discussing now, in the issue that you're discussing right now, we have other opinions that disagree with what you're saying. He totally disagrees with you, as if you have committed a crime. That's arrogance in their hearts. That's what Sayyidina Umar is talking about. So please don't evaluate people based on how they look like. People nowadays, please listen from me. Listen from an expert. I'm sorry to say that. Listen from an expert who is 32 years old, but he has 20 years of experience in da'wah. We have so many people out there. They get into the field of da'wah because of the way they're dressed. They dress a certain way, and they speak in a certain way, and they look a certain way, and you know what, unfortunately, they are very successful in deceiving and cheating the majority of people, because we tend to judge people according to how they look like. Please be very careful of these people. Don't take knowledge from someone because of how long his beard is, even if it's the sunnah of Rasulullah. It's a sunnah. Growing your beard is a sunnah, but increasing your akhlaq and your knowledge is an obligation. Please don't take your knowledge from someone based on how he's dressed like. This one is dressed in a thobe and that one is wearing a shirt. You know, in the khutbah in the masjid I wear a thobe, but now in my house I wear whatever I like, as long as it's clean, presentable, and humble. Modest. So don't ever take your knowledge from someone because he's from a certain country or he's dressed a certain way. Always ask, what's his qualifications? Where did he come from? Why is he in a position to teach me? Or why do I have to go ask that person and not someone else? So that's what Sayyidina Umar is talking about. He's not talking about go to people who look religious. No. Go to people who act religious. Sayyidina Umar is saying, go to people who act religious and speak, not even speak, because they can deceive you, they can cheat us the way they speak. No. Go to people who act religious, not people who speak religious or people who look religious. It doesn't mean anything. The way somebody looks doesn't mean anything to me. You know what? If I see a sister without a hijab and another sister with a hijab, I will never consider from the first look that the one with hijab is better than the one without hijab. I will never consider this. I'm not saying right now hijab is not a fard. Hijab is a fard, is a wajib on every Muslim woman. But I'm saying hijab is not the sign or the proof that she is better than someone else who doesn't have hijab. So go to people who have qualifications, people who act according to religion, not people who look or speak religiously. Sayyidina Umar said, إِذَا رَأَيْتُمُ الْعَالِمَ مُحِبًّا لِلدُّنْيَا. By the way, some people look religious or speak religious because they love world so much. They want to gain a lot of respect and they want to eat with their religion. فَاتَّهِمُوهَ عَلَى دِينِكُمْ. Accuse those people of abusing your religion. فَإِنَّ كُلَّ مُحِبٍّ يَخُوضُ فِيمَا أَحَبَّ. طيب, I will stop here inshallah ta'ala, and next time we'll start with the next chapter from Ihyaa Ulumuddin. Again, try to buy the book, the Mukhtasar Ihyaa Ulumuddin, the summary of reviving the Islamic sciences. جزاكم الله خيرا وأقول قولي هذا وإني داع فأمنوا. هذا ما كان من كمال فمن الله وما كان من تقصير فمنا من الشيطان. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.